Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce, making breakfast legendary.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Beautifully done. A great start.
Yeah. Perfect.
I was happy with it.
What about the world's deadliest spiders on the loose?
What?
Yes.
Are there?
Yeah, did you not know about that?
No, but he has agreed to stand down from the presidency, I believe. Yes, I don't like the sound of that at all. I don't like
6-inch Brazilian wandering spider. No, thank you.
Is that what it's called? The Brazilian wandering spider?
Yes.
Well, they're all fairly movable, aren't they?
Spiders?
They wander.
They do wander, yeah.
That'll be one of those. You know, the big ones don't build webs.
Don't they? Where do they live then? Where's their crib?
Well, they just hang out on the chairs and stuff, and in your slippers. And
I've met blokes like that.
And the reason they don't build, I was told this once by a zoologist. I'm sure there'll be readers who tell me I'm wrong. The reason they don't build webs is that they're so quick. A fly lands, they're out the slipper, back in the slipper with it.
That's all commitment folks say.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's pretty... Imagine a spider that quick and that big.
I am doing now. That's what I'm doing.
Aerosol, that's the secret, isn't it? Isn't it aerosol and cigar? Isn't that what Sean Connery did with the tarantula? Isn't that what he did, wasn't it? Was it aerosol and cigar?
Yeah, but... I'm not sure that's the recommended destruction technique.
Not with a hairy man like Sean Connery. He could have gone up...
Yeah, he was asking for trouble,
could have gone up like a haystack. Whoa, I'd rather have had the spider. It's not brilliant, Sean Connery, but bear in mind he is on fire, which I think it just distorts anyone's voice.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We've actually had an email that I wouldn't mind bringing to your attention. You know, I do my little trawl where I look through yesterday's emails.
I like that. It's like we all worked in an office together.
Occasionally, there's a sort of a ramp of emails. They start dribbling in on a Friday.
Yeah.
Alan's a big fan of the Friday Night Crew.
Yeah, I like to have a little look. But I'm gonna say at the start, I think it's an odd one.
Okay.
But it's got mystery, and I think it's got a bit of humour. So I hope I haven't built it up too much.
I like the sound of it so far.
It's entitled Fame.
I love it. It's my favourite email ever.
It begins, to my horror, I became a celebrity about a year ago. Only locally, though. Very local. I pulled a stunt after the pub one night, and it went down so well that I was getting...
Daisy.
This...
Isn't it, Frank?
Isn't this the Cambridge Clown? Oh, is it the Northampton Clown?
It could be. It went down so well that I was getting pointed at and talked about as the story began to spread. I was even getting stopped whilst in Asda. It was so bad I've avoided my local pub and shops ever since. I've been wanting to ask the three of you in your varying degrees of fame how you managed to cope with it. Well, I can answer that fairly easily. Do you mind it? Do you like it? I find it fascinating that Frank feels okay to do normal things like visit castles, etc. Do people look and point and take pictures?
This is from Dracula.
Yeah, how do you feel
We're
when
just
you do
a normal
family
going to castles,
Exactly.
avoiding garlic.
Oh, I really want to know what the post-pub stunt was that's made him a local celebrity.
What else does
it does
say?
continue, but it doesn't say anything about what the actual... it says, it's my first time doing this sort of thing, getting in touch with the radio station. Be gentle, cheers 405. So it's a listener.
I love it's my first time doing this thing. I've heard that before. They always say that.
Like a virgin. Well, that was if the Bee Gees had covered it.
Yeah. And they might.
Thanks. So...
Oh, my hat fell off! Sorry. Well, I love it, personally.
You do love it.
I hated not being famous. One of the worst things that ever happened to me.
In fact, just to give you an insight into how much Frank enjoys being famous, he's admitted previously on this show that he goes downstairs for the breakfast in the hotel rather than getting room service, just so he can see people's reaction to him being in the breakfast room.
True. That is not. I like to see other people at breakfast. It's a novelty.
Other people watching you.
It's a novelty. No, often they're foreign. So they don't even know who I am. And you can imagine how much I hate that.
Yeah, much to our chagrin.
It's made me into a fierce jingoist. These damn foreigners. Some of them, they don't even know who I am. No, but seriously, I think it's great being that, because I went through that stage of being the local celebrity when I used to do I used to do 2 gigs a week at the Bear Tavern and the Hare and Hounds, and I was world famous in a tiny section of the West Midlands, and that's even better.
Is it?
Yeah. I think you should this 405, is it?
Yeah.
It should savour it. I still want to know what they did post-pub.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
We might know them. They might have some sort of...
Do you think so? We won't know them.
I bet it's the Northampton Clown. It's got Northampton Clown written all over it. Which is interesting, because so was my van, and if I find out...
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had some correcciones.
Okay.
Frank, Connery used a shoe in Dr. No on the Spider. It was more...
Hold on a minute. The gadgets really hadn't... In Dr. No, the first movie, they hadn't quite got the gadgets when he used the shoe.
Yeah.
Did M
Rubbish.
call up and say, I've got something that's going to completely blow you away?
I've got a size 10 brogue.
Yeah.
Do you think it was just to create some kind of understanding between James Bond and the common man? Like, they see him smash a spider with a shoe and they go, oh, well, I do that. Maybe I'm like him.
It's not very inventive. I thought, so...
It's a bit visceral, isn't
does
it?
it say...
Moore used aerosol and cigar, which again I think both rather 70s, if you don't mind me saying.
Both very Roger Moore. Where would Roger Moore have been without those items? His social life would have been in ruins. What? Oh,
He used them on a snake. Well, 776 says in Live and Let Die, and
that sounds right, because isn't he in the Caribbean in Live and Let Die?
No, he's in New Orleans, Voodoo.
Oh, I know it was...
569 says it was the man with the golden
Hot
gun.
Island. Man with the golden gun. He's got a powerful weapon.
Okay.
No, I'm just... I heard that about Roger Moore. That's my favourite Bond song ever. Man with the golden gun.
Oh, that's not mine. Mine is Nobody Does It Better.
I'm slightly worried that we're about to encroach on a proper commercial radio texting.
Oh, no, we don't want that.
What's your favourite Bond song?
Yeah. Can I send a message? Just keep them to yourself.
We don't care.
I have an
I'm not
answer
saying
to
I
this,
don't care, but it's nice to keep some things inside.
You know, this 405 character that was asking about our levels of fame and how we deal with it.
I know? Everyone knows him. They're all talking about him locally.
I'm so happy that he's referred to my level of fame.
There's an email here that I think illustrates my level of fame. It's entitled Alan Spotting, so you can imagine the monstrous ego that I was getting as I opened this email. I saw Alan in Tesco this week and approached him with the immortal words, I love listening to you guys on the Frank Skinner Show. He immediately responded, I'm not on the Frank Skinner Show. I quickly realised to my horror I was speaking to Chris Marshall from the BT ads and awkwardly replied, my Infinity broadband is fantastic, before hurriedly walking away.
Oh.
So
is that your Lucky Likey?
That's my Lucky Likey, yeah.
Mine's Nigel Clough, so he probably gets comments like that.
Yeah, recently sacked, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you had people go up to you in the street and say, nah, never mind, you'll be back?
No, because I'm starting to morph into Brian Clough now.
Oh, God. I think you've got a way to go. Oh, okay. Well, speaking of celebrity, guess what?
Yeah.
I was presented with a large portrait of myself this week.
Oh, super
how
duper.
exciting.
Yeah.
How large?
It'll take pride of place over let's say a mantle.
All right, so indoor, not like on the side of a lorry like you were running for Prime Minister or something.
No. It's a proper, it's a painting.
Was that a gift from your friends in the art world?
Well, kind of. I met a lady called Liesl.
Oh dear.
No, it's not Liesl who used to work with us. What happened to her? Anyway, she's
at a phone party in Ibiza.
Right now I can see her waving her glow sticks.
Yeah.
No, but this Liesl is an artist, and she did a painting of me. In fact, we'll put it up on our social media. Apparently, we have a Twitter site. Yeah. No one ran it by me.
What do you call it? Site? Like it's a Wiedersehen page.
What do you call it then? Twitter what? page?
It's just a Twitter account. It's just
Account,
Twitter.
an account. But who wants an account? I mean, God, when they came
No
up
one with
that-
your bank.
this super cool thing, they call it an account. God. So all the sort of rock the core, Nick Grimshaw has got an account.
Grimmy's got an account, definitely.
Rubbish. Anyway, so I've got this lovely painting. I must say she's one major mistake. She's given me grey hair.
Oh,
What are you looking at? Look at me like that for? What is it? Don't nod. You're nudging. You nudged him then. I could see that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So it's
You got your portrait
I got
down?
my portrait. I'm going to put it on the wall.
What, in here?
No, not in here.
Oh,
I
in the
think,
attic.
I think at home
I was going to say, I think we need to take a vote on that.
would be good. And yeah, I'm quite excited about it. It's ruined my chances of ever being on Through the Keyhole,
oh yeah,
because once you see
yeah.
that on the wall,
yeah.
it's the end of that. But you know,
Oh,
Turn it round, I
Kath can whip
suppose.
it down.
if it means as well, if a burglar gets in and they see that, they think, oh, there's probably more to be had in this house.
So, hey, this is
worth
the
a
home
photo.
of famous slum landlord Frank Skinner.
Yeah, they'll be going through it. So, remember when George Harrison got, God bless him, when he got burgled,
That was terrible.
and he said he walked out and he saw this bloke and he just shouted Hare Krishna.
Did he?
That's what he said, and I thought, well, if the bloke had any doubt at all that it was George Harrison, that would have completely confirmed it, wouldn't it? I don't know, what would you shout? Also, where do you find a poker nowadays in the age of central heating?
Good point.
If the girlfriend says there's someone downstairs,
I don't know what I'd shout.
what do you take downstairs?
That's probably well, I take my Stuart Broad cricket bat.
Oh, good
that'd
shout.
do. Is it
Also-
full-sized? Or is it one of those little autograph ones?
Oh, it's full size, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably quite a good indicator of the man inside, is what would you shout if a burglar came into your house?
I think
Or
I'd
what-
shout, "Get out of my house or I'll kill you." Something like that.
Would you?
Yeah, I think
That
that's...
tells us quite a lot about
Yeah,
you.
what does that say about me?
I'd
Surely
say, how
that's-
dare you?
How dare you?
I would.
Yeah?
Yeah. What would you say, Frank?
I think I'd say, aren't you Justin Lee Collins? They all look like that, don't they?
Yeah.
Their hirsute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do. I mean, it wouldn't. I'd go in straight with the poker.
Would you?
No warning. Just
Yeah.
straight in.
I keep one forever red hot in anticipation.
Outside every doorway in the home.
They're situated around the house. It's like Game of Thrones to my house. They're hanging on the wall.
Can't be too safe though.
I'll tell you something about my portrait, which I thought was particularly accurate. Is my
Can I
eyes?
say,
old
I
commercial
never
radio
thought I'd
trope.
hear you say, I'll tell you something about my portrait. During those Central Reservation years.
No, well, it's true. Well, I had a portrait then, but it had my height on a wall behind me. My eyes aren't quite the same size. Can you see that?
Oh, no one's our darling.
No, but mine are quite distinctly different.
Really? I hadn't noticed that before.
Yeah, I noticed, but I tried on a bondage mask a couple of months ago, and in the one.
Absolutely disgusting.
In the one eye hole, I mean, the eye dominated the whole space. The other
Talk
eye,
about dominated.
the other eye,
Disgusting.
the other eye was in a sea of flesh. I had to zip one for any hope of symmetry.
Put the music on, Daisy. It's horrible.
Yeah, Daisy's put the title of a track in front of me with some desperation, I think. It's a good track, though.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though. So I received this portrait in a cafe.
Gee,
Yeah.
Sounds like a bit of a spy handover.
Yeah, and then, understandably, the artist, Liesl, said, well, I quite like your photo. Can I take a photo of you holding it? So I had to stand. It was quite busy, this place. I had to stand. Not only was I standing up in my photo I took in there, but I was holding a portrait of me. It was like, yes, it is that bloke off the telly. If there's any doubt. I mean, it was a bit awkward.
That's yeah, but you like fame.
You know what?
don't you? You love
I
it.
got through it.
You love
Yeah.
it.
We have one of our readers asking what fame was like, and that's it in a nutshell, Frank.
Do you think so? Standing holding your own
Yeah.
portrait for a photo in a
Yeah.
busy cafe? I guess you're right. Olbersoil. £10 I got for that. I told them I'd get it in. I doubt that Albus Isle have got £10 to spend on anything.
I was going to read you an email, but I can't find it.
Oh,
now.
don't
He
worry
doesn't.
about it.
Frank won't do voiceovers or anything like that much, will you? Well, I don't want to do you out of work.
Very pure, isn't
I mean,
it?
maybe you do want to do
Oh,
voiceovers.
I'm pure. I tell you what, I had an interesting conversation as I was driven in this morning.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The driver said to me, "Are you going to Golden Square?" And I said, "Yeah, that's right." In case you don't know, Golden Square is the home of Absolute Radio. And he said, he said that's where the Lunch and Vouchers Redemption Centre used to be. I never knew that. I did think like I'd got to a time vortex of some kind. I hadn't heard the phrase lunch and voucher. And this is what... if he worked in a shop, and I didn't know you could do this with lunch and vouchers. Do you remember lunch and vouchers?
Oh, hell
People
yeah.
used to get them as a little sort of supplement to their wages.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
And you could go in you could go to a restaurant, I think, and spend them, or shops had them. You could go and buy food and things.
Although if a man took you to a restaurant using lunch and vouchers, it wasn't a good sign.
Well, I once met Cynthia Payne, who I don't know if you remember. She ran a house of ill repute where
Yes.
they accepted
Oh, yeah.
lunch and
Madame
vouchers
Sin.
as payment.
Worked with them all, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I have. She was a charming character. Yeah, so this bloke worked in a shop previously, and he used to bring all the ones that he'd been given by customers and used to redeem them in Golden Square.
Wow.
I wish he was still here, do you?
Well, it'd be handy.
I'd love to go past the lunch and voucher redemption. Do people still have travellers' checks? Do they
That's
exist?
a good question.
Someone will know out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I missed. And Tic Tac Man. You know Tic Tac Man from the race courses? Gone. These we have lost.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You know, we pride ourselves on being an inclusive show here, I think, and I think that's to our strength.
Yes.
What does it mean?
I think we keep people updated on things. If they're new readers, we like to let them know what we're referring to, because there's got a lot of what I would call running jokes on the show. Would you say running jokes?
Is that from the same family as the running saw?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know, if we use the A.E. Houseman alarm, then you would.
Oh, you know
would
what you've done
probably
now?
explain-
You've referred to A.E. Houseman. You know what's going to happen now,
didn't,
don't you? You know what's going to happen once you mention A.E.
Didn't
Houseman.
mean to.
The whole
How
damn...
many times? Well, this is what happens, isn't it?
You see, what worries me about this is the pensioners in the family are
It's all-
already in the garden between two sandbags.
It's all very well being
singing,
an inclusive
"We'll
show,
meet
but
again."
we don't want to terrify the older listeners.
No.
We've had an email that, I mean, I've got doutes about reading this to you, but I'm going to do it just to
Go
keep
on,
people
we
in
can
the
handle
loop.
it.
It's entitled...
What if it's really full of expletives then? Just read them straight out. Oh,
Expletives.
man.
I'd love expletives.
Expletives, interesting.
Extraordinary.
That's what they call, isn't it?
Expletives?
Expletives, Frank.
But expletives? Why not? Why not?
Let's
It's
call
your
the whole
Star
thing.
Wars.
No, let's not call it that. Okay, Karen.
Let's call the whole thing
Don't say it.
Descartes.
What
Yeah.
happened?
It's your Descartes moment, Frank.
What happened that was so
We're going
bad?
to hell in a Descartes.
Very good. Hi, Frank and gang. I started listening to the podcast of your show just after Christmas and have thoroughly enjoyed working through the back catalogue. Unfortunately, I'm nearly up to date
Am I
now.
working through? That makes it sound like an arduous task.
Well, you know, there are peaks and troughs.
Unfortunately, I'm nearly up to date now and will soon have to restrict myself to waiting for the weekly show to appear on my list of podcasts. After listening to over 2 years of shows in roughly 6 months, I have one question in relation to a topic that occasionally arises but is never properly explained.
Oh, God, it's not my age, is it?
No. Frank... What happened when you presented the Brit Awards that fills you with such dread every time the subject is brought up? Yours with bated breath, Sean.
Can we have an alarm activated for when the Brits is mentioned? Because I feel
The
stiff with stress.
thing is with the Brits is, yes, I presented them in, I can't remember what year it was, 2000 and...
As if he can't remember.
I honestly can't remember the year. I've had the whole thing removed from my mind. And it
laser surgery.
What it actually was a pretty flat gig as the Brits. I had presented at the Brits a few years before, and it was a void of. I mean, it
You're listening to In Conversation with Frank Skinner.
yeah, it's like speaking into a vacuum because most of the people were, well, obviously they were representatives of the music business, and they were there to talk to each other. Understandably, they were seeing people they hadn't seen for a while.
And Frank, they were strung out.
Some of them were strung out.
Yeah.
Let's face it. So it was just a difficult gig, and also I co-hosted it with Zoe Ball, and I think I didn't help really.
Right.
So, but it wasn't actually. I've had much worse gigs, but to be honest, it's quite nice to have a bad gig you can refer to in a terrible way.
And you know what, we
So
can
I've
all
probably
refer
made
to
it-
it as well constantly.
I've
which
probably
is nice.
made it a lot worse than it was for
It's,
comic effect.
It's a good shorthand for tough gig, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is exactly.
Yeah.
But,
I might
so there
watch
you
it
are.
this weekend. Just because it's been a while and I'm intrigued now. So thanks for that.
What I remember, one example I'll give you is at one point I said, now it's time for some garage music, and I sang You Can't Get Quicker Than a Quick Fit Fitter.
I think that's a good joke.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's ever done well hosting the Brits. That would be my contention. So now they have people that just talk and don't really do jokes at all. So I think I was one of their last shots at it, and I fell short. Okay, so you've made me say all that. I feel strangely clean. But I feel that you haven't given me my... How many Hail Marys do I have to say now?
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We've had some comments through on your Brits performance.
Oh, God, what... Keep it topical.
What is it, 15 years or something?
At Brainy Chat says, Frank, you made the Brits sound like it was just a bad gig where nobody laughed. It made the national news.
Well, it was the Brits. It's going to make the national news.
Did Sir Trevor say something?
I remember I had to, in the dress rehearsal, I say dress rehearsal, I met Sting, went over and had a chat with Sting. He didn't have a shirt on for the whole conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he doesn't need one, in fairness.
No, but I tell you, I found the lip, if had it been a woman saying just a brassiere, I wouldn't have been able to have, but I was, as I was talking, I was really staring at his, it seemed okay because it was a bloke.
His chest.
And he seemed fine
Did you
with
pass
it.
comment?
I don't think I did. Just a little droplet of saliva came hanging and hung about 8 inches from my mouth for just suspended there. But then I went, and it went straight back up again. He never said a word.
No.
Yeah. I think he said that at one point. So yes, it was in the National. Oh, it was a public disgrace. I'm not.
Public disgrace.
I'm not denying that. It was up there with the Profumo affair.
Man Has Tough Gig is one of the better public disgraces, though, isn't it? There's been much worse public disgraces.
I can't think of a worse one than Man's Tough Gig. But that's just me.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. And you know what? You can text the show on 81215, or you can follow the show at Twitter on Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Morning again, Frank.
Morning,
For listeners joining us an hour later.
Morning, Jim. Morning, Peter.
Morning.
I'll tell you what I'd like to discuss this morning, which I can't believe we haven't raised, because I know Daisy, the producer, is such an avid fan of BGT.
Mm-hmm.
The scandal. Do you know about the fake Matisse?
Oh, yes.
So this is Matisse the dog,
Oh.
not
I thought there was
not
a
the
scandal
painting.
in the art world.
Well,
No, let's leave that to Radio 4.
No, but do you remember there was? I think it was last year there was,
Yes.
in Venezuela. They found that a Matisse that they'd had in the museum for years had been stolen and replaced by a fake, and no one had noticed because it was well done. That was a much smaller story
Than this fake Matisse.
than a dog that pretended to be another dog.
Well, she
Yeah.
used a stunt double dog called Chase, because apparently Matisse is afraid of heights. Aren't we all,
How
love?
do you find
I'm
that
afraid
out
of
about a
heights.
dog?
Yeah. Why is a dog afraid of heights anyway? Surely they've no concept of
height.
Of height and danger. Surely they just go, well, I'm happy.
You just don't take them high, do you? I
No.
don't know if I take a dog for a walk, which obviously I don't, because I haven't got one.
I like to, as part of her defence, she said Jules O'Dwyer, I believe, I don't have her age, at this point I should say, 45, but let's say 45.
Harsh.
Kind.
She's probably
kind, I
33.
think.
I mean, it's a tough business, dog training.
She said, look,
Think of the
Chase...
fumes.
Frank, let me tell you
Okay.
this. She said, look, Chase is Matisse's best mate. I'm not sure you can really make presumptions about dogs' emotional investment in one another.
No.
They don't have best mates, dogs.
They're all rivals. You put a lamb chop on the floor, we'll see who's his best mate.
Exactly. It's like dogs are like comics in that respect.
I don't agree with that. I think comics are a bit of a loving brotherhood in many ways. There's some rivalry, but I think there's more companionship.
I love there's some
So
rivalry.
I haven't listened to anything since Frank mentioned lamb chops. I'm just
Okay.
hungry now.
Yeah, me, I could just eat a lamb chop.
I love a lamb chop.
Can we get some? Can we get some in, Dave?
Isn't it a bit mean the way she's named
It
them,
comes
though?
with a handle. I love food that comes with a handle.
What about the white chef's hat it used to have on it?
Oh, you haven't seen one of those for
I love
ages.
the
Oh,
Galloping
that's a long
Gourmet.
time. Isn't it a bit...
I used to use it for my Action Man after.
That's a good...
Like
For
he
a
was
chef's
in the,
hat,
he was in
yeah.
the naffy.
Turned into some Gordon Ramsay figure.
Yeah.
Now,
hasn't she named these dogs in a slightly sort of disparaging... One's called Matisse, like, oh, it's
Yes.
arty and clever. And one's called Chase, like, oh, you're just a simple thing. All you'll do is run after stuff.
Yeah, but has a dog ever done... You can have all these dog acts that do walk tight ropes and stuff. This is what this is about.
Yes.
Has a dog ever done a better thing than chase its own tail? if I was watching Britain's Got Talent, they brought a dog on that just did that, that would be the winner for me. It's the best thing. My dog used to do it.
Which one, Shep?
Shep used to do it. And sometimes he'd catch it. And he'd have the tail in his mouth, and he'd slow the whole thing down. Then the whole thing would slow, and he'd just be like this beautiful, like a donut going round. And he used to look up at me with this terrible "What now?" Like we all do when we achieve our ultimate
Achieved what I
ends.
wanted.
Yeah. He was never the same. It's like George Best. He was never the same after.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Simone Cowell, he wasn't happy.
Oh,
he loves the dog act, though, doesn't he?
No, but he was angry about the switch.
He does. He always used to go on about how he loves the dog act.
He said, I did raise my voice.
Yes.
I bet that wasn't a pretty
I
sight.
bet he said, get under. Do people still say that to dogs? You've got a dog, Alan.
I've got
Do you
a
ever
dog.
say get under?
Get under.
Yeah.
Get under what?
You know, at a table or something where they
I don't
live.
want her
Where's it
under the
live?
table. It lives in a basket or in its cage. Like, it's got a little bed in a cage, but I would never say get under.
Why don't you one night while it's sleeping fit a bit of a rope and pulley thing?
Yeah.
When it wakes
This
up the next
sounds
morning,
responsible.
it's 200 feet up. See if it likes heights.
200. yeah, find out.
I really want to know if your dog is frightened of heights, if it's a common thing amongst
We
dogs.
live in a very flat city as well. It's just very difficult to find out. There's not even a nearby cliff when you want one.
You live in a flat city. Where do you
Yeah,
live?
Manchester.
Dresden. Sorry, that was... Take that back.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Emily said that Simon Cowell admitted to raising his voice. The actual quote in the paper was, the moment I found out, I literally put my head in my hands.
Literally.
Literally, not
Yeah.
metaphorically.
No.
he put his head in his hands.
Like a sort of
Gladius.
Tudor ghost.
I'm
He
glad
was-
you
I'm
made
thinking
that
of
clear.
Cowell as a Tudor
He
ghost,
was that
Frank.
upset.
I think
spoke
he
to
should
a
have
lot
said...
of people after.
The moment I found out I put my head in my hands, why didn't anyone tell me about my hairstyle? It's got like some weird parting in the middle I had no idea about.
I wonder if when he did get angry and lose it, he went a bit Hulk, and I think the gene button would have remained intact.
Oh, yes,
Don't
exactly.
you?
But the bottoms of the jeans are a bit ragged.
Yes.
I mean, he doesn't actually admit that he got angry and lost it. He said he put his head in his hands, and then he says, "I spoke to a lot of people after, and I did raise my voice." But that could have been that there could have been some, like there could have been a generator nearby while they were having that conversation.
It could have been hard of hearing. They might have some elderly people working on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
Or he
raising
might
your
have spoken,
voices.
so they might have been a long way away.
Well, Simone's no spring chicken himself.
There was a picture of him in the paper stooping down and stroking the dog.
Yes, I
whatever,
saw that.
And his trousers look like some 70s flamenco dancer. Was that incredible? What a man with that money.
Do you think he was trying to win the competition instead of Matisse?
God,
and,
was
I'd
he
have seen
wearing a
anyone-
white shirt and jeans per chance?
Oh, no, but it wasn't jeans, it was trousers. And it was, I would have, if anyone else, I would have thought there's a bloke who was a bit impoverished, bought some dead man's trousers from a charity shop. But this is a bloke who's a multi-millionaire who likes... Oh, dear. Other than that, I don't know what there was... what the fuss is about, though. What are you laughing at? I don't understand what's wrong about a dog walked. They went and they saw a dog walk a tightrope. Does it matter which dog it is?
I know.
They saw a dog walk a tightrope. They're all the same species. They're
You
basically...
can't say that, Frank. It's a bit
It's
like
still
if
impressive,
Dynamo, if you've discovered that Dynamo had switched and he'd had some man who said, "Oh, by the way, I'm afraid of heights." That's wrong.
Yes, no, but hold on, mate. If Dynamo, say, flew above the Shard,
Yeah.
and then he said, actually, it wasn't me, I got a mate of mine flew
Yes.
above the Shard, I'd think, wow, somebody flew above the Shard. I wouldn't think, oh, it wasn't him.
yeah.
These are dogs as well. I mean, God bless. I know there's a lot of dog lovers out there, but dogs are basically interchangeable. They're a species, rather than...
Frank!
No, but I mean, in an act like that, you go and you think, I want to see a dog walk a tightrope. You saw a dog walk a tightrope. Doesn't have to be that. I am very suspicious that isn't Alicia Silverstone's bottom in Batman and Robin when she puts the Batgirl outfit
You
on.
and your up-to-date references.
But it's...
Let that come out
To be honest, that image burnt on my mind, and I thought, I bet that's not her. She doesn't look like she's the right... But no one minded that. They use doubles all the time, the big film stars. We don't condemn them.
True enough.
There you are. There's my defence of Matisse. Hopefully they'll get him off the hook. Did I tell you he was on a hook? Cole decided the way to put a hook in the back of the collar and take him up to 3,000 feet. See how he likes that.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Last night, I
don't know if I want to hear the end of this anecdote.
Yeah.
It's okay. Last night I lay a-dreaming, I dreamed a dream so fair. I dreamt of all Jerusalem beside the temple there.
That was the Strokes.
Yes, last night I went to the Royal Greenwich Observatory.
You do loads of normal stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
Loads of,
Oh, I don't know, normal stuff.
loads of normal, non-famous stuff.
Yeah, there was a talk about a new book called The Scientific Secrets of Doctor Who, I think it's called. Very fine.
Lovely.
And I'm not a science person, but it was interesting. But do you remember a couple of weeks ago someone sent in an acronym so that we could remember the order of the planets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was many volcanoes erupt mouldy jam sandwiches, usually not plum.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I discovered last night, and actually I do remember this story, I think, in the press, that Pluto, plum in this instance,
Yeah.
isn't actually classified as a planet anymore.
No. What is
it
it?
It got
not?
demoted. Dwarf planet at best.
Is that what they're calling it now?
Mm.
Are they allowed to say that?
I think they can. Yeah, you can still say that. That's all right.
Okay.
Oh God,
Oh, Pluto.
so strict.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is out of date.
Oh, no.
Apparently, there's been a big fuss about the whole Pluto thing. It hasn't reached our house.
No, oh, man.
It didn't reach Hello Magazine.
I've only just
No.
learned that acronym as well. Seems like...
I know. So what's it going to be now? It's going to
What
be
a waste. You spent all the time learning that.
many volcanoes erupt mouldy jam sandwiches. Usually not. It's not the same, is it?
It's terrible now, Frank.
No.
It's got no rhythm.
Nutella. What about Nutella at the end?
Usually Nutella, that'd work.
You made it work. It's
erupt mouldy
lovely.
jam sandwiches. Usually Nutella.
Lovely. I don't like there's a slight attitude in your voice with the Nutella. Do it again, Frank, but sound a bit happier.
I also think Nutella sounds like a teenage blogger who's got 8 million followers.
I want one of the and a book deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, one of those. And their own clothes
Line.
clothesline, yeah.
Yeah.
When I say their own clothesline, I don't,
Yeah.
I've got my own clothesline. I've got pegs and everything. It doesn't make me special.
Get you.
Can I talk about myself, Frank?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So I've got quite a lot of things to tell you both.
Okay.
I went to see David Baddiel this week,
Professionally or personally?
professionally.
Oh, okay.
I went to see his work in progress.
Oh, yeah.
Very good, 12.50 worth.
Oh, good.
Do you know, I heard Barbara Windsor say that once when I was at a Sue Pollard gig.
What?
She said, good 10 quid's worth, darling.
Oh, lovely.
So this was good 12.50 worth, darling.
Yeah. Babs.
And it was such a relief to be able to laugh with abandon. You know that feeling when you've been to see a friend and you think, thank heavens it was good. And it was. I'm going 5 stars for a work in
5
progress.
stars?
Yes.
Oh,
my
wow.
goodness.
Yes.
Tremendous work.
You can use that on the poster. Afterwards, though, we went for dinner. It was me, David, and a man he introduced as his friend from university. Could have told us he was the editorial executive for BBC Two. We've got ideas to pitch, Frank, haven't we? We've got so many documentaries.
I haven't got any ideas.
We've come up with so many on this
Come
show.
up with a lot, actually.
Have we?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there was what was that one? The Bells of Wales.
Yeah,
Bells of Wales.
exactly.
When I go from Welsh church to Welsh church,
That's the tip of the
Exactly.
iceberg.
talking
that.
about the different. Oh, there's me and Ollie Mers
You and
built,
Ollie
built a
Mers.
Catholic church in the
Exactly.
Antarctic.
We could have got all those off the ground.
I have to say, I'm sorry, cold, Frank, incense, and Mers. That was the.
And you say
can't
you
do the
don't have
setup and not
ideas. Come
punchline.
on.
I know, but they're rubbish ideas.
What
Still,
about?
that wouldn't stop them being made. As long as they got a punning title, they're in
Well,
the
what
show.
about my idea for the story of Adrian Charles's birth? When A. Charles is born.
That is brilliant.
Come on, we've got ideas.
That is good.
Anyway, so we sat down and we had dinner. What has happened to men's food? I mean,
Men's
what do
food?
they eat now? It's
What
all
about
gone
when
Californian.
Let me
What
guess.
about when
what
A.
it
Childs is bald? And it could be. So it could be a programme about the future, like Tomorrow's World, but that could be the general title, When A. Childs is bald, which is what 10 years' time, say. So what life will be like then? And it can end when A.
What
Childs.
life will be like then?
Yeah, well,
This will affect all of us.
years.
No, but he's just a marker for time in that particular title. And you can, as we get you could Photoshop him. So as you go forward here and think what technology there'll be
Yeah.
then you see him get a little bit balder and a little bit bald.
I love that idea.
Okay, what's his mate? What's his mate called?
Adam.
Give him a bell.
So yeah, we had food, and this is what concerned me. What has happened to men and food?
Did they put the bib on? Is that what happens?
No, they've gone so like ladies. I'm sorry.
What?
Well, I remember the old days. People in comedy, TV. You know, they'd have a meat, a red
Steak and
wine,
chips.
Exactly.
Yeah, steak. I'd be all over that.
I ordered the fish and chips. David, I'll have the chicken and the. Have you got any okra?
What?
BBC executive had just a salad, please. I mean, how embarrassing for me with the fish and chips. I was like
Yeah.
some 70s relic. They picked at the food.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Oh, goodness me.
This is they're all Californian
You're
now.
right, it's the modern man.
I know.
I went out the other night and I had rice pudding for tea.
Oh, nice.
I just had a nice tin of rice pudding.
Oh, that tin.
Yeah.
Did you order that in a restaurant?
No, I had it. I thought, you know what I fancy? I don't fancy nice rice pudding, so I had that. That was my dinner.
Did you eat it out of the tin?
No, I warmed it up.
Oh,
What do
you
you think I
paused.
am, an animal?
On occasion.
No, I warmed it up. It was really nice. So that, you know, just thought I'd mention that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
David Baddiel's just
Like that.
texted me.
Oh, I see. Is he absolutely furious that you've given away his dinner?
He said I did not pick up my food.
Oh.
Full stop. I hoovered up, close quotes, that plate of okra.
Well, I lived with him 7 years. I never saw him hoover. Okra. Oh, okay. What
it
is
okra?
okra?
I think it's some sort of African vegetable.
I
Is that
think
correct?
it is. I
Yes.
think, wasn't there some big okra scandal
Oh, no.
Or was that opera?
Oh, I get confused. There's Ben Ockery as well.
Oh,
Famished
God.
Road.
Yeah, you're right. It's too complete.
It's so
It's too complated.
much food-based stuff
It's so
going on.
complated because it's on a play and it's controversial.
I know you're listening, David, but I did love your show. Well done. There you go.
Mazel tov. I'm told I'm in it.
You are in it.
Yeah, I was never asked.
Well, you're not.
Tell him that.
So I text him.
It's all right. I'll just invoice him.
Okay. Handling fees. I went to a book launch recently as well. It was my friend's book, Hot Feminist.
I went to a book launch this
Did you?
week.
What was it for?
Okay, you guys.
It was Simon Armitage's Walking Away from... Walking Away, I think it's called. Yes, he does the... he walks from Minehead to the Scilly Isles,
Oh, yeah.
and every night he does a poetry reading.
Oh,
That sounds
nice.
Good.
How was your book launch?
It was good. It was a good bit where someone asked him about beach holidays, and he said he hates beach holidays, and I'm not a fan of beach holidays, so
No.
And he said, yeah, it's like going on holiday in a quarry, which I thought that's kind of how I feel about it, I must say.
I like it.
Anyway,
It seems good.
Back
what
to
was
me.
yours?
Okay, back to me. I had an encounter which I thought...
What was the book?
Oh, it's called Hot Feminist.
Okay.
What do you wear to Hot Feminist launch?
Hot pants.
I'm very glad you weren't there.
That's what I would have worn.
I was so nervous about my outfit, I changed in the cab.
I'd wear a smouldering brassiere. What about that?
I'd have gone hot pants and some of my sports briefs, just in case.
Showing over the top so you can read, the people like, so you can read the waistband.
Yeah. Calvin Classics.
I think that would have looked quite... Well,
That
I'm going
happened
to
to
call
the-
specialist interest.
Yeah.
That happened with a pair of my pants. I could read them over the top of my trousers, but it said Daddy Pig. Less cool.
I had one of those moments, though, Frank, when a woman approaches you and you don't know who she is.
I used to live for those moments.
I've never had those moments.
She said hello. I was with my boyfriend and another woman, and this woman came over, and I kissed her hello. I said, "Hi, how are you?" Realised I had no idea who she was.
Oh,
No.
that's you
And she-
committed early.
She wasn't giving me the biographical footholds.
Oh.
No.
You know, I was saying, "How's work? How's everything?" Fine. How about you?
Did she definitely know you?
Oh, yeah. And I sort of vaguely recognised her.
Oh.
So I thought she'd move on. She didn't. She committed to our group.
Oh,
So then I thought the onus is on me now. I'm going to
Yeah.
have to do the introductions. So instead of doing that, I decided I was going to do an emergency parachute jump and bail. So what I did, while she joined the group, everyone stopped and looked at her as if to say, "Can you introduce us?"
Yeah.
And I got my phone. I pretended I'd had an emergency call or text of
Wow.
some sort.
Oh,
I went,
excellent
"Oh my
work."
God, I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to go." And then I ran over to another group and I said, "Talk to me very animatedly as if something's happened."
You had trust in that group.
I did.
Yeah.
It was a circle of trust. And
Okay.
they did. And then I saw them all introducing themselves and it was fine. I was quite pleased. I got my karmic recompense, though, because moments later, I went over to join a group and a woman I know relatively well, and I've met her a number of times, she said to me, "Who are you?"
Oh.
Can you imagine how I felt?
Oh.
I said, "I'm Emily Dean." I went a bit, "I'm Spartacus."
Yeah.
And I didn't like her after that.
No.
But, I
So
mean,
this
there
is
could
what
have
I
been
would-
many reasons. For
But don't you think, in fairness, which was the best way, my way or her way? Because I do like her. That's mean. It just slightly put me off her.
I think you. It's put me off her, and I don't even know who she is. I don't think I would have done the phone thing,
Wouldn't you? Why not?
because I think being caught out like that. What if you'd been caught out that way? That would have been. I mean, respect to you that you. But of course, you're a child actor. You fell back on what you know best.
Yeah.
Whereas
Imagine if
I
it
think
had,
rudeness is my first port of call.
Imagine if
I
you'd been
wouldn't have
pretending to
said,
be
"Who
on
are
it.
you?" I would have looked at the other people in the group and said, "Who is this?" Let them have both barrels, I say.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what I do love in the news. A manhunt. I'm particularly pleased by a manhunt in the news.
Oh yeah.
I love
I'm
a
worried where
manhunt.
this is
Just got a
going.
bit of well, actually, this isn't a manhunt. It's a woman hunt. They're
Yeah.
in San Francisco. They're trying to find a woman who put in for recycling a load of computer bits and bobs, and one of them was a rare Apple I computer.
Yes.
Which is worth loads of money, tons, and they've sold it. And now
You'd be a terrible journalist.
You think so?
I would be a very good
My
one.
first thought is, how much is this worth? It's worth loads of money.
We'll get back to you on those figures presently.
130 grand.
131,000.
Of pounds.
Yes.
That's not dollars.
Yeah.
You know,
I've never heard of the Apple One, have you?
It was the first one.
So what's the current one called?
Oh, it's like
they haven't just numbered them, have they?
MacBook Pro or something.
Exactly.
Now, yeah,
Why isn't it like
Do
the
you know
Apple
what?
38?
This is like hearing Jonathan Ives and his assistant talking.
I don't know who that is.
The thing is, there's a
I
picture of
don't
it.
know who that is.
There's a
He's the
picture
big
of it.
cheese at Apple. He designs it all
Cheese
and
and
makes
apple?
it look...
One of my favourite sandwiches.
Very nice. Yeah.
I used to peel the apple first, now I don't bother.
No, why would
I've
you?
gone artisan.
Just whack it
Imagine
in
being
there.
the big cheese at Apple. You'd have a field day, wouldn't you?
I've had a look at this computer. There's a picture of it in there, and it looks rubbish. There's not a screen. There's not even a keyboard.
Oh, it's wood. It's made of wood.
It's wood. Who wants a wooden computer for
Can I tell you,
131 grand?
It looks more like a mangle than a computer.
Absolutely. It's been
Frankly.
bought by an idiot, I can tell you that. They could have got... They spent
been ripped
900
off.
quid, they could have got a laptop. I mean, what a fool.
Talk about a rip-off.
They could have got the new MacBook for...
Yeah. And then kept 130 grand for spend.
They could have had a wooden thing made for it, like a radiograph. Yeah, they could have a wooden cover. So if that's
wants
what
a
they're...
wooden
So
computer?
had a mangle on the side. They could have had a tumble dryer
Yeah.
on it.
Early example of convergence technology there.
Exactly, fusion.
Yeah.
It just doesn't... And it's not very portable, that thing. Imagine carrying that around. Get
I
back
don't
in.
know. You'd be all right if you're travelling by water. just float across with you.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
I like the man where she lost it, or where she dropped it off.
So
Sorry.
what did
yeah.
she actually do then?
I think her husband died and she took a load of old computer
Keep
parts.
it light.
I've always got one hand on the sad
Hang on,
button, you know.
you just had a go at him for not being journalistically forensic enough. He's giving you the full backstory.
I know, but
Yes,
we
she
didn't.
So
took
keep
in
it
various
light.
bits
Did we
and
need
bobs.
the bereavement?
And they
So
they
she had a
realised-
load of computers she wasn't using.
Yeah, and she dropped it off. The
He
guy...
was still using that, the bloke. He was electrocuted, that's how he died. Blimey.
But the
You
chap...
got RSI from the wooden keyboard.
I've been typing all afternoon, got a few splinters.
The chap at Clean Bay Company, which is where it was dropped off, said
Yeah.
he remembers her, and he said he offered her a receipt, but she said she didn't want one.
But what is this place? Is it like a tip, like a
What, are
public
you planning
Yeah.
on going there?
It's a recycling
Sorry,
centre.
It sounds like the beginning of an investigation on your part. You can go there.
I'm holding a biro as well, detective style.
Yeah.
Tell me more, listen to this on the teeth.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more.
Where's your black coffee and your marriage problems?
I don't stick around. You know I don't drink coffee. But how do you recycle something like a computer?
I think you just give it to these people that know how to do it.
So they recycle the individual parts.
I
He
guess
doesn't
they
know. He
must.
doesn't work for Sir Alan, does
I
he?
reckon they probably take out the metal bits, and then the wood they probably use as kindling.
Oh, well.
You
And
know
the-
that wooden computer we've all been laughing at? It was first sold for $666. I think that's quite a lot of money back then.
That is a lot
that
of
would have
money.
been a lot.
Yeah.
Then.
Kindling. That's what Kindle should have a wooden thing
Kindle
because
should be
it's
kindling.
Kindle.
Yeah.
But people don't think these things through. That's what I find annoying.
What, Apple?
Yeah.
They don't think things through.
No, they don't. They're flailing around like fools.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane, the A-Team. You can text the show on 8 12 15, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. That's S-I-T-E.
Website.
Yes.
That's how they spell it.
Yeah. We were talking about this rare Apple I computer.
Yes.
Absolutely horrible.
Made partly of wood, and it was deposited at Clean Bay Area, which is the recycling centre, and Clean Bay Area have said the mystery woman had dropped off the box of electronics in late April. She's been they've put out a search for her. They've put out a little video and stuff because they owe her money now.
APB or Points Bulletin, I believe.
Well, of course they've emailed her, but she doesn't have any computers.
It must be quite nice for her now. She's a mystery woman. That's quite exciting, isn't it?
If you don't know.
No, I suppose not.
Well, the man at the cleaning company said, "I just need to look at her."
That's what he said. Yeah.
Now,
I like the sound of him.
That sounds rather slapdash security.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd be able to get a job at passport control with those sort
They've not issued a description of her. They've literally said it's a woman between 60 and 70 years old and driving an SUV, the sports utility vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what about this? I was driving through Greece once with my girlfriend, and two old ladies stepped out into the road to flag the car down. Oh, and I went to slow up, and then I realised there were two blokes.
What?
Yeah, so I accelerated.
But why did you accelerate?
Because
maybe they needed help.
Well, what are you suggesting? They were pre-op transsexuals looking for funds? No, they were bandits. That's what they were.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, I think they dressed as old ladies so that we'd, think, oh, look at these poor old ladies.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, that was my theory.
I thought you just meant that on closer inspection.
I killed one of them and winged the other. No, it was quite scary, though, I tell you.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm just saying it could have been one of those blokes. The whole thing could be a scam.
Oh, yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's just a
if you don't mind me saying, Frank,
it's the tray out of a Victorian budgie cage.
You do have a tendency to think everything is a scam.
Well,
like poetry news updates.
Well, yeah, but I was right about that.
Yeah, you got your money back.
I got my refund from respect to iTunes.
Yeah.
Of course, we wouldn't have an iTunes if it wasn't for this old lady who invented the wooden computer.
She invented it.
Didn't invent it. Okay.
I think it was designed and hand-built by Steve Wozniak.
Right, okay.
Yeah, you know Steve Wozniak. No, thanks for the tip.
Okay, so they are.
They're looking for a 60 to 70-year-old woman who drives an SUV. So in San Francisco, that should narrow it down to about 3 million, shouldn't it?
And they're going to return the
wooden
They're going to give her half the cash.
So it's been sold.
Yep, it's been flogged for about
131,000
grand.
No, it's not about. It's £131,000.
You see, one could argue that what they should have done is contacted her and saying, sorry, you accidentally dropped a really expensive computer. Do you want it back?
Yeah.
Not sell it and...
Well...
Now suddenly she gets her half. Hold on a minute, when was this decided? What they've done, obviously, is they've got this, sold it, and then they've got a bit panicky that it might get out.
Yeah.
And we thought, we'll say we'll give her half.
Yeah.
It's what I call backed into a corner honesty.
Yes.
Worthless, I'm afraid.
Because you could say that, once again, a woman tempted someone with an apple and they fell into sin.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Always on the lookout for a religious comparison to a story, aren't you?
There's not enough of it on this channel. If I've said that once, I've said it 1,000. Is it a channel? It's a station, in fact.
That would be nice for one of your vicar speeches on a Sunday.
Yes. And in many ways, we are all like that apple one. We appear old and rattled, but we contain in us the seed of the future. The future which I like to call When A. Childs is Born.
So you're going to get a commission, that.
Well, I'll tell you, I bet we're being called.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, you were going to say something, Alan.
I was going to say, I've actually got an old laptop that I only use to play music in the in my bedroom. And it does feel
music.
Does feel a bit of a shame that
oak,
such a maple, actually.
Maple,
it's really
lovely,
nice, special edition.
I've got a teak one.
I've gone pine.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no, it's a bit. Was it IKEA yours?
Yeah, it's a bit naughty. One of those naughty.
Those pine centres you used to get in the 80s that had a rocking chair outside. Oh, those were the golden days.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yeah, so it's a. Have you ever thrown anything away like that? That was.
I have a childhood memory of my mum throwing some kind of prize-winning card where they'd won a car or something. And quite a big family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A car?
I don't actually know the details. Maybe I should ring her and ask her about this. I'll keep you updated next week.
Yeah.
I remember there being family tension about this having been binned.
Well, because you'd be a bit suspicious, wouldn't you? Be a bit suspicious that they've collected the car, sold it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she was driving a Range Rover for the following few months.
Hold on a minute.
Said she found it or something. I don't know what that was about.
She didn't take any of your dad's stuff to get recycled.
Yeah, something like that.
Big car, old lady.
She's not that old.
Okay, well they didn't say how old she was. I mean, to be fair, the official Apple statement was from Siri.
Oh yeah.
So it was, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
What about when I had a signed book with a personalised cartoon from Spike Milligan?
Oh, no. You didn't throw that away.
I didn't, but let's just say it went missing.
Oh.
Don't panic though, I've still got Arthur Miller's letter in a safe place.
Oh, that is
That
nice.
is
Okay.
excellent. I've got Arthur Mollard's. Google it. The only thing I can think of is, do you remember those part works? Do they still exist, part works?
Part.
Carry on.
They're like magazines that you get
yes.
every week, and then you put them in a
Yes.
binder.
Oh, okay.
I remember them. It was quite sort of 70s, 80s thing.
I think they still exist,
Oh,
though.
okay, yeah.
And there was every Christmas you get something like the delivery vehicles of the past.
Oh yeah.
In these beautiful scale models available. The
Yes.
first number one edition, 20p. The next edition, 223 quid. That's what they do with
Yeah.
them. Anyway,
That's how they get you, Frank.
there was one called The Story of Pop. Do you remember it?
Right.
No,
Pop
perhaps
music.
before your time. Yes, talk about.
Not soft drinks.
No, pop. No, exactly. Yeah, I remember the R. White's edition, one of the best. So, it was the story of popular music. And
Lovely.
It was brilliant. It was really brilliant. But there was one year, I had the 3 bound volumes. I think there was a total of 4, but I had 3. And one year I moved 7 times in 13 months. I remember moved house. And every time I moved, I left something. I just thought, I'm not taking that. So every time you move, it's a great way of getting rid of excess. Mm-hmm. And on the last move, I thought, you know what, I'm not bringing the story of Pop anymore. So I left it. And however, strangely, only this week, I remember thinking of the story of Pop. So I had a little look on eBay. There they were, 3 bound volumes. Not mine, but somebody's.
How much?
I don't know if I should say that. 15 quid. So, I've...
Treat yourself. Get the lot.
I've got them.
Buy it now.
I've bought
Did
them.
you buy them?
Yeah.
And why not? He's got
What
the
about
money.
that?
He's worked hard for it, hasn't
So all this woman needs to do is get on eBay.
he? Yeah.
She's worried. There'll be loads of them on there, the Apple ones. There'll be some fool selling one for about 30 quid. Thinks it's used to contain cutlery.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We had a Christmas card arrive today
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
from Australia.
Is it early or late? Which are we going with?
I'm going late. Oh, I don't know, what's the date? No, it's still late, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
still the first half of the year, just about. And it's from a guy called Rob, and Rob sent me some imperial lather, as my dad called it, but with the sticker on.
Oh,
So, I was struggling to get that.
That's
So that
very
it
kind.
forms its own plinth, is the thing.
very
So I was
kind.
right. Someday my plinth will come. And
So that stands on its name.
he also sent us some personalised ID.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a Gotham Police Department.
Have you?
Yeah,
I've got International Woman of Mystery identification card.
fabulous.
I've got Top Gun fighter pilot
He's
training.
put a bit of work into these.
He sent me food as
Sent
well.
you ginger kisses.
Who's that to?
It's to you, isn't it?
I think it's to me.
It reminds me of when I went backstage at that Simply Red. Okay.
I think it was just kisses you got. But
Well,
another story.
and he also says, can Alan explain the chess joke from his appearance on Have I Got News For You? In Australia, they're watching you now.
I don't think I can.
Frank, you're like something out of the 70s. Can you believe you can speak to people in Australia?
I know, it's
you call at 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening.
It's absolutely amazing.
Busby, it's cheaper.
And also, Ben sent me a caricature of me as Perkins from Doctor Who.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you very much for that. But isn't it
You get
lovely?
a lot of portraits, you, don't you?
Oh, I love the portrait.
Caricature of painting.
Yes.
I think it was Nugget who told me there is a Frank Skinner radio show Facebook page now.
Is there?
No.
Yes, but guess what the avatar is? It's a little picture of you as Perkins. I think that's a bit cross-pollination.
I'm all right with that.
I'm sure you are. It's just you. On your own. What about us? There's 3 of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but behind every great man.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which, it's about time we had some Sepp Blatter news.
Has there been any? Actually,
There'll be no Blatter bashing on this show.
No. He stood down, didn't he? He stood down and they stood up.
Yeah.
They gave him a 10-minute long standing ovation.
Yeah.
The staff.
The staff at FIFA. He must be all right.
What?
If the
I
staff-
knew you were going to go
Come on.
down this road.
If I left here, would you give me a 10-minute standing ovation?
11. I think we'd give you an 11.
Right.
Very popular boss you are.
I'd be happy if I got a... All right. As I left. No, I tell you, he might be, you know, whatever else is. And can I say there is nothing established at all about SB.
No.
But he must be a popular boss.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
10
say
minutes.
that, but you went positively Churchillian last week on this show. You were all over Twitter. After,
Yes.
What did you say about England? You said you'd be more proud if they pulled out of the World Cup than if they won it, I believe.
Yes, I do think that, but that's only if corruption is established. Sepp might come out of this completely squeaky clean. I'm calling him Sepp now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seppo.
How's your watch? Who's your favourite FIFA corruption inquiry pin-up, though? Because mine is Jack Warner.
Oh, really?
I say inquiry. Don't worry, everyone.
You see, my problem with Jack Warner is that he's got the same name as the man who played Dixon and Doc Green. So every time he comes on, I want him to say, evil.
And he never does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Also, I remember the intro to Dixon and Doc Green when Jack Warner once said, you know, there's nothing worse than a bent copper. And it's coincidence, possibly.
I like that Blazer fella. He's got a good name, hasn't he? The Blazer fella.
Oh, Chuck Blazer.
Chuck Blazer.
He can talk till he's blue in the face. But anyway, can I just say before we go into music that Jack Warner was also a musical star, and he had a catchphrase which is one of my all-time favourites.
What was that?
Mind my bike.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
If you get a 10-minute standing ovation, how long before you run out of facial expressions?
Oh. 10 seconds?
It's tough, isn't it, to
Yeah.
keep that going?
Yeah.
That's why in the photographs he's doing that thing where he's clenching his hands and sort of...
Yeah, but try
waving.
doing that for
No, but that is
10
his gesture.
God, he must have been so bored. I think they were all bored. Doing anything for longer than... As long as 10 minutes is too much of anything, isn't it?
Thank you, welcome to the show.
Well, you say that.
He says on a 3-hour-long radio show.
Exactly.
What about the chief executive of the Irish FA? I believe he's called John Delaney or something. He said that Sepp
All right,
had... oh, you can talk. Mr. It cost about, I don't know. He said that Sepp had once stared at his girlfriend for 7 or 8 seconds. This was in all the papers.
7 or 8 seconds.
And Sepp apparently
she had just
said...
broken wind with alarming ferocity.
Yeah.
And Sepp then said, I approve. And John said, I had to ask him to move on.
Jog
Move
on.
on.
I bet he said jog on.
Jog on.
Jog on, pal.
What do you make of that?
Well, she might have just said, I've just bought the complete works of John le Carré. He was a little startled, then he thought about it and said, I
Yeah.
approve. And why do people always look for the bad in Sepp?
If someone
They
stared
definitely
at
do.
your cath for 7 or 8 seconds, would you ask them to move on?
I don't think
I
I'd
said,
ask
I
them to
approve.
move on. It's a bit... Come on, nothing to see here. What did she have?
It's a bit, I'd like to thank the police.
Yeah, did she have yellow tape around her?
Oh,
People in Ivy's jackets.
And why is he timing it? What, like, if somebody looked at my wife, I don't think I'd go, hang on, stopwatch time, click.
I should think he looked at every woman in the office during that 10-minute ovation.
God.
Oh,
Is it,
imagine.
what's the
And I hate
etiquette
standing
on checking
ovations,
emails during a standing ovation? Would that be frowned upon, do you think?
They're clapping though, aren't they? It's too much. I mean, that's like a cardio workout, all that standing and clapping.
I find it exhausting.
Have you ever been to a classical concert?
No. Oh, maybe, yeah.
At the end... Oh, well,
Oh, do they applaud a lot, do they?
I'll tell you after this.
yeah.
It's monstrous.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Right, you know, we were talking about things we've thrown away.
Oh, yes.
Caroline, or Carolyn, I do apologise, has tweeted us to say a guitar strap signed by The Who. My sister met them, she gave it to me. I was a kid, I got bored and I put it in the bin. I got bored.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of some accidental thing, but someone thought, no, fed up with The Who now. Fed up with their stupid straps.
I had a mate who said that his wife had chucked some, like, rare trainers that he really liked away, and he went, why have you thrown them away? And she said, oh, they were really battered. He was like, yeah, they're old school, like, proper...
But would they be worth... Would they be worth it? Even if you've worn them?
Not a lot of money, but some.
No.
Yeah.
I got some wooden ones.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, Nike ones, they call
Oh, yeah, nice.
They're clogs. They're more of a clog.
Yeah, the night clog. That's
They
how
look
they
super
started,
on
isn't
you.
it? Everyone knows that.
My mum threw away a light ale bottle that Ray Davis had handed me from the stage at Birmingham Town Hall. I was a bit gutted about that.
Oh, no.
So if you're listening, Ray. So I was talking about applause at classical music.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it really goes
You described
on.
it as monstrous,
long-
can
You
I remind
actually
you?
have
Long
to.
old applause.
You have to pace yourself. So you have to clap.
Oh.
Any more than honestly, I have looked. By the time the conductors come out for the third time, the woodwind have stood up for their bit, and I've looked at my hands, and they obviously look like I've been clutching an unclad boiler,
Oh.
and I haven't done that for a few years. It honestly really.
Or is it like you've been writing a document on an Apple Mac 1?
Yeah, but like burning, my hands burning, and then the violinists stand up. What's that? I just wish people had all together. They go 1, 2, 3. Everyone goes good, and then you just go.
Oh, really good if they've knocked it out.
I feel
really
similarly when I go and see a friend doing a gig. I've got to be honest. With you two, I want you to hear me laughing and clapping.
Right.
Yeah, I'm all right, but at the end, I mean, clapping. That's
You
a
must love
common.
an ovation, you two.
Well,
I've never had one. Never had a standing ovation. I don't want one.
Well, you deserve
one.
one.
I think they're I think they're always a bit rubbish.
I think the only time I've had a standing
You had one,
ovation
Frank.
is when I dropped a tray with my dinner and pudding and a glass of water in the school dinner hall.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I've had a text from my friend. You know my friend Scouse Tony?
Oh yes.
He's got the story of Pop.
Ah.
He sent me a picture
Bound?
of it. Hashtag Winter of Discontent. Yes, Bound. Lovely graphics.
Is that when that...
He says it's brilliant, major part of his education.
Me too.
Oh, that's cool.
Really
And,
good.
I thought
really
The Joy of Sex was yours.
Yeah, I didn't like the beard.
I had a flashback to an awkward round of applause that I got when you said your dropped tray story before the end of that link.
Well, anyone who dropped their tray in the school
Oh.
dinner hall. Yay!
Well,
Best reaction of my life.
Yeah.
I'm shuddering even as I remember this. When I was 15, had a milk round, and I think I was like 2 or 3 days in. And you know, you have to go to like a big farm where all
No,
the
I
milk
don't
is
actually.
kept. You didn't have a milk
Funnily
round
enough, I
whilst
didn't
at
do
school.
that.
You had to go and get all the milk, and you had to take back the empties from the day before, kind of thing. And you know those sort of like a trolley with two metal wheels at the bottom, and
Yes.
like shaped like a big L.
Oh, yeah.
So I had like 6 or 8 crates.
You're talking
of
about a
empty
sack truck.
I don't
No,
know
I think
what we
it's called
call them.
something
Oh,
else.
maybe, yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
I had 6 or 8 empty milk bottle crates, so full, each one full of milk bottles, and I'm wheeling it through this farm where all of the milk rounds guys are all gathered to load up. And I knocked it off, didn't I? And the whole thing went down, just smashed. So 6 lots of 32 milk bottles smashed everywhere, and they all stopped loading their van. And I'm standing there at 15, 3 days into the new job, just being clapped by everybody in what felt like everybody in West Yorkshire's milk community. I'm shuddering even now.
My equivalent... Sorry, Frank.
Well, I was just thinking it's interesting to use a popular phrase on this show, Venn diagram.
Yes.
That a round of applause includes that and stepping down as president of FIFA.
And when a dog ripped off my skirt.
Oh, yes, of course. One of my favourite Emily Dean stories ever. Dog ripped off my skirt. If that isn't the title of your memoirs, I want to know why. Anyway, thank you so much for listening this morning. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.